now. All right. Well, welcome again to your mats, to the practice, and beautiful morning here in Cambridge. So if you have got a little bit of natural light that can flow through the window, maybe you're practicing in the evening. If you're watching the recording, that's not going to be possible. But it's really nice to tune in, and I think as we're all kind of our normal prompts for our routines are dropping away, we're getting a little bit more responsive, or we're noticing the impact of our circadian rhythm and how that links in with the external kind of what's going on. So the earlier starts, Shruti was just talking about when the birds were singing and she noticed what time that was. Maybe that's usual, but I think personally I'm noticing myself feeling a lot more energized in the afternoons, whereas I used to have a real slump, and I still have a rest in the afternoons because that's nice. But I think it's just nice if we can tune in with that. So if you're practicing in the evening, perhaps turn out any bright lights and pop a couple of candles on. It's full moon. I don't know if any of you noticed last night, it was nearly there. Today is full moon, and it's a special day for the Buddhists. It's Buddha's birthday, so they're celebrating everything about him. But in honor of that, we're going to start not with a sun salutation, but with a variation of a moon salutation. So we're having our legs wide on the mat. Whenever you stand with your legs wide on the mat, you can have your toes pointing slightly inwards towards each other, not massively, but what you don't want for now are your toes pointing outwards. A few people. So, and then you want to make sure that the outer edges of your feet are pressing into the mat. So you are activating through your legs. Your outer legs are feeling active there too. And you've got a slight inner rotation in with the thighs, kind of neutral. Okay, so we're going to just start with 3 breaths to coordinate the breath in the movement and bring that sense of connection in. So I'm going to have my palms resting slightly in an Anjali mudra on the chest, and then inhale, draw the arms up and over the head, lovely. Exhale down through the midline. Inhale, keep the shoulders low. What we're doing is we're lifting up out of our pelvis. Exhale down through the center line, and we're getting a bit of axial extension. So the spine is lifting and lengthening. Inhale, look up, and then exhale. And as you exhale this time, just soften through the knees and sort of sit through the plumb line, through the center line. Lovely. Take the palms to the knees and roll the shoulders back and down away from the ears. Draw the shoulder blades either side of the spine down towards the waist. So keep the waist lifted and feel how that helps you draw your abdomen in and lift through the sternum. Inhale, this is quite strong on the thighs. Exhale. Inhale, lift up, stretch the arms out. So you're taking up a lot of space. Allow yourselves to be really spacious in the chest. Reach right through to your fingertips, and then slightly draw your arms backwards into a tiny suggestion of a back bend. Inhale, look up, and then exhale, draw the arms over each other. So the right arm crosses over the left, bend the knees, and at the same time, bend the elbows up. Your face comes in between the 2 palms. And then we're going to take another twist if it's available to you. So you're coming into eagle arms. So it really stretches through the back. And if you want to increase that sense of stretch, inhale and draw the elbows up just a few millimeters. Now check in with your pelvis. See if you can keep your tummy rolling. So your belly button is rolling forwards. So you think about scooping in. Lovely. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful, everyone. Inhale. Maybe see if you can plumb a little lower. Exhale. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. So we're going to release the arms and come back to that nice, big, confident, taking up space posture. Inhale. Little sense of the back bend as you just take your gaze up to the sky. And feel the blood rushing back into the arms. And then we're going to exhale. This time the left arm crosses over the right. Bend through the knees again. Draw the palms up. And then if you can go for that double interlacing, that's fantastic. Check in with your navel. So if your bum is sticking out, see if you can draw it in so your hips are in line with your chest. which is in line with your crown. Inhale, draw the elbows up slightly. Exhale, sink a little lower through the plumb line. Inhale. Exhale. Really good, everyone. See if you can draw your upper body a bit more upright. Inhale. So pop your weight a bit more into your heels. Perhaps you can peel your toes off the mat. And exhale, release. So hopefully your shoulders had a nice sense of openness there. Lift up, axial extension, and then draw the palms to the waist. So you wrap your fingers around your waist, your thumb goes behind, and you just use your thumb to tilt your pelvis forward. So if you have a bowl of liquid in your pelvis, that liquid is now splashing onto your mat. And you just come to a forward fold. So all of your posterior muscles are getting a nice strengthen and stretch here, just as gravity does its thing. So just notice if you're holding on with the neck muscles. Maybe give yourself a little circle with the head left and right. And then let the arms drop down to the mat. Take your right palm into the center of the mat. So again, it's that center line, okay? And I want you to try and keep your hips equal, so your left hip and your right hip are the same height. Then inhale, sweep the left arm up, and gradually from your spine, from your lower spine, I want you to twist to look at your left palm. So your neck is the last part of your spine to twist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. And I'd like you to take 3 breaths here. Tune in with where you're breathing from. And at the base of your next exhalation, again, unravel. So very gently allow your gaze to return to the ground, and then swap your palms over. So now your left arm comes to the midline. And if it's not crazy comfortable for you down there, you can always take your palm to the outer edge of your leg, or if you've got a cushion or even a chair that you can use just to lift up the front body to make that stretch a bit more accessible, then you can do that there. So let's take that twist from the lower back, see if you can keep the hips level. So keep the left hip drawing down, sorry, the right hip drawing down, and take the gaze up to the right fingertips. Inhale and blossom and grow. Exhale. Again, have a check-in with where the weight is in the feet. Make sure the outer edges are glued to the mat. And maybe you can play with a little bit of lifting up the toes and placing them back down again so that the weight goes more evenly through the foot. So the heel is getting a good share of the weight there. So hopefully you've taken a nice few breaths, and your next exhale, you can come back down so that you're in your forward fold. Just inhale to look up and lengthen through the spine to neutralize after those twists. And then I'd like you to bend the right knee. Now, if you've got slightly tweaky knees, this might feel like it's putting a lot of pressure through the knee. So what I would advise you to do is actually come and sit down and let your knee, let your foot take the weight, and you can come into a side stretch as such. But otherwise, if you're okay on your knees, just lift up your heel and let the left leg extend outwards. So my tripod fingertips are helping me keep my equilibrium as I'm opening up through the inner seam of the leg there. So wherever you are with this, you ought to be feeling a nice stretch along the inner seam. Lovely. And then we're going to walk over and swap sides. So you may find that one knee is a little less compliant than another. We are asymmetrical beings. Okay, so we can't ask too much of ourselves. We're going to demand that we can do the same each side. So listen to what's going on and take heed. Okay, so hopefully you've had a nice stretch through those seams there now. And we're going to lift up again to the center and walk the feet towards each other. Then turn the feet to the short edge of the mat, the front edge of the mat, and draw yourself in so that you can hug your knees. You're lowering your hips down. Keep your gaze lifted and come to sit down on the mat. So we're really going to be working into the lower back today, and we're going to take a couple of bridge postures now so that we can really articulate and heat through that area, because that can be a very dry area for a lot of us. So just let your soles of your feet come down to the mat, draw your hips a little bit further forward, and lay the back down. So a couple of adjustments here to see if you can tickle your ankles. Your feet want to be about hip width apart. And you want to feel the base of your tailbone making contact with the ground. Always look up. So from now you can just tune into my voice as I describe the action. We'll do a dynamic bridge pose. Tuck the chin in. Exhale, release any stale breath there. And then inhale, I'd like you to push down with your palms into the mat as you float the hips off the ground. The thighs draw longer as the knees go further forward, or it feels like they do, and they draw together. And when you come to the top of your inhalation, notice that there's a moment of stillness as your glutes are squeezing together to lift your body. And then exhale, release your vertebra by vertebra back down into the mat. Again, pause at the base of the exhalation, perhaps lift the toes off the mat to prevent any grasping there. And then inhale, articulate there through the entire body. Lift up those hips, just float them up as if you've got a string attached to the belly button. When you get to the top of your inhalation, hold for a moment to notice the stillness. And then exhale, let the spine unravel down towards the mat. Twice more in your own time. And once more, inhale, lift, 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 lift. So you get a nice stretch in the hip flexors. The weight wants to be on your shoulders, not your neck, so make sure your shoulders are relaxed enough to take the weight into the body there. Great, then just draw the knees into the chest. Bring the arms into cactus and let the legs drop over to the left and the gaze to the right. A little twist all the way down the spine. And then inhale, open up, so you're looking up against the center, let the knees lift up, and exhale, the knees drop to the right and the gaze to the left. You may feel some good clunking and clicking as you wake up through the spine in all its different rotations and movements. Just maybe let the lower back roll into the mat a little bit by taking your palms over your knees and just rolling circles with both knees in the same direction at the same time, and then rolling in one direction and the other. If you've missed any spots in one direction, you can go over them again in the other direction. Lovely. Then we're going to have a little bit of fun with a rock and roll, backwards and forwards. And when you come to a forwards position, you can stay there as we're going to lift our hips off the ground. So now you're taking the weight forward again into a gentle forward fold with the knees nice and bent. And then we're going to stack ourselves up again, vertebra by vertebra. Notice how important it is to engage the navel, lift up, draw down the tailbone, hips come forwards. And then last thing, your head stacks on top of your neck and the gaze is forward. So if you keep looking forward, I just want to demonstrate. We're going to inhale, draw the arms up, interlace the fingers and extend the first fingers. It's a little bit like a kind of James Bond gun style. So as we draw the arms up, we're extending the spine. Lovely. And then we'll just take a little wave left and right, getting into the side body. And as you do so, you're strengthening and lengthening the intercostal muscles, between your ribs, and your lungs can create a fuller capacity. Come back to the center and gaze up to the ceiling. So again, a very, very gentle back bend. The idea is to start the back bend, not from the lower back, but from the top. So where your bra straps are, ladies, your thoracic spine, everybody, we're going to start by looking up, so your cervical spine is extending, and then you're going to start by bending and just drawing a tiny little line, maybe 5 centimeters, with your fingertips on the ceiling, or at least imagining you are. So you're really not going back very far at all, and then try and hold it and lift your chest a centimeter higher. Hold, keep, where's the breath? Inhale through the nose, grow a little taller. Keep strong in the abdomen, and then exhale, extend that pencil forward so you're drawing a line all the way down to the ground. Lovely, shake it out. Inhale, look up. Exhale, place the palms, step the right knee back, and then the left knee. So we're going to come into Cobra, everybody together, a little tutorial on a dynamic Cobra. So as you lower down, make sure that your elbows are drawing into the sides of the body and untuck your toes. Keep your palms just pointing underneath your shoulders. Press your toes into the ground so that your knees lift off the ground. And then just gently lift your navel and draw your belly button in and up so your navel is engaged. Keep your gaze forward. Exhale. And then inhale, draw up and look up. So your shoulders are rounding back. The heads of the shoulders are rounding back. Exhale, lower down. If you're feeling pinching in your lower back, have another go, and this time to really focus on relaxing your glutes. Inhale, look up. Exhale, lower down. One more time. Have a rest in between, moments of stillness. Inhale, look up. Lovely. Exhale, place the palms, tuck the toes, and send the hips back to the heels. So you're getting a bit of a counter stretch here. Your back is nice and rounded. It's really flexed, particularly in the lumbar spine. Keep your gaze lifted because we're just building up the heat here. Inhale, and come into your first downward facing dog. So nice and soft in the knees. Perhaps you want to walk left and right. Lovely. Take a nice inhale here and just feel how your spine is in neutral. So down dog is a good place to come to reset after your back bend. And then exhale. Drop both knees to the ground, but keep the toes tucked if it's accessible to you. So your toes do not get a lot of stretch. So here it's going to feel quite pronounced because it's quite unusual. You can start like this, and if at any point it gets too much, then you can come out. So just see if you can pop your weight on your toes, and just check in as well, like I'm doing now, just checking that my toes are really spreading. Okay, so sitting back on the heels, interlace the fingers behind the head, and inhale, look up, and exhale, round down. So again, we're articulating through the spine in a seated cat-cow. Inhale, if your toes are untucked, you are still doing the best you can to get the back active. Exhale, tuck the chin. Inhale, look up. Draw the elbows away from the front body so you get that nice stretch, and then exhale, let them come together as you round and flex. Let the navel scoop in so you become even more rounded in the back body. Inhale and exhale. Release the palms, walk the arms forward, and grace through another downward facing dog. Just for a moment, and then walk the feet towards the hands. Keep the knees nice and soft. Perhaps just bend them to show yourself and bounce them that you are being really soft through the legs. As you inhale, draw up to standing. So you're stacking again, the shoulders above the hips, the crown above the shoulders, the navel draws in and up. So even a standing posture takes a lot of focus. Inhale and exhale. Now I'd like you to inhale and pop your palms, fingertips pointing down, just at the base of your spine, either side of the spine. So as you inhale and you draw your elbows together, your chest does get a nice lift, but you're also creating a support in your lumbar spine. Inhale and look up, lift the gaze and let the elbows draw together. Keep the abdomen drawing up so you're active in the front body and your thighs are drawing your kneecaps up. As you look back, and we're going into a slightly deeper back bend this time. We're not collapsing into the back, so keep long in the front body. Don't put all your weight in the palms. They are there to support you, but so are your abs. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale. Now come down, fold down again. Gracefully, a nice little counter posture. This time we're going to step back into plank if you want to. If you'd rather have your knees lowered, then you can step back with your knees lowered. So let the left leg come and join the right leg wherever it is. If you're in plank, send the heels away from you, hips are low, abs are strong, gaze is forward. Heads of the shoulders roll back. Everybody lower down the knees, the chest and the chin. Untuck the toes and inhale up into cobra. So the elbows come to the side of the body. Relax the glutes. Push down with the toes, the knees lift. Exhale, place the palms, tuck the toes and push back into child's pose. Keep the gaze lifted. A counter posture. Then inhale, come back into plank. And if you want your knees down, again, do that. If you want to challenge yourselves and see if you can lift the knees up, maybe one at a time, have a go. Roll the shoulders away from the ears. And then everyone lower down, the knees, the chest, and the chin. Untuck the toes. Draw the elbows into the side body, press the toes down, lift the knees, inhale. And exhale, tuck the toes, send the heels back, the hips back to the heels. Now the third time, we're all gonna try an upward facing dog. Keep the gaze lifted, keep the navel engaged as you inhale back to your version of plank. So to come into upward facing dog, lower down, like a stick. Untuck the toes and inhale the body up through the palms, through the arms, and the knees lift. The thighs lift. Let the rib cage drape. Inhale. Keep a twist in your forearms so the eyes, the elbows looking towards each other. And then exhale, roll over the toes and come back to a downward facing dog. Let's all let some of this stale air out. Inhale through the nose. And exhale with a lion's roar. Stick your tongues out. Let's do it twice more. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. And exhale. Lovely. Take a look towards your palms and walk yourself into another forward fold. Beautiful. And then inhale, roll up. Oh, fantastic. So we'll just do a couple of standing postures before we go down to the mat again, and we try a few more of those deeper back bends. So if you like to leave your right leg at the front of the mat and step your left leg back about a length legs a length away from you. Keep your hips pointing forward. So you may want your feet to be about the width of the mat, which really helps with keeping the orientation of the hips shooting forward. Place your palms on your waist, so your thumb goes behind your hips and helps draw your pelvis down and long. Inhale, draw the spine up, and exhale, fold towards the front leg. So your upper body is coming parallel to the mat. You just hold that there. Take the focus to the navel and see if you can imagine that you're scooping your navel out with an ice cream scoop. So you're just creating a little bit more space. You need to tuck that navel in. Gaze long, draw the shoulder blades down the spine. Lovely. And then let the palms come either side of the front foot. And just practice moving the weight forwards and back. So as you inhale, you draw your front toes off the mat, and as you exhale, you lift the heel. And we can take that a little bit deeper. You take your stance a bit longer. Exhale and really bend into the front knee and lift the gaze. And then inhale, take the weight into, but obviously both the palms and the back foot, and pull the front toes up. Exhale as you come through the movement to bend into the front leg, and inhale, look up. Exhale to push away so that you can straighten the front leg. Lovely. And then inhale, look up. So we're going to exhale now and spin the back. Oh no, sorry, we're going to, keep the toes of the back leg pointing forwards. And we're going to place the left arm, the left palm inside the right leg. Then we're going to inhale and draw the right arm up. So if it's too much to have your back leg lifted, come down onto the knee. Inhale, look up towards your right palm. A nice twist there in the spine too. Keep your right knee drawing into your midline. Inhale. Exhale. If your back leg is lifted, make sure that you're sending your heel away from you to keep it nice and active and straight. Inhale. Keep lifting up with the torso. And at the base of the next exhalation, unravel the neck and look down. And bring the right palm now inside the right foot. Turn your back foot so that your toes are pointing at about 10 o'clock. And let the outer edge of the back leg make good contact with the ground. Now we're going to inhale and come into an open twist. So this time the left arm spans up, lifts up, the chest blossoms open. Keep the left shoulder drawing back. And see if you can think about drawing your hips in line with your head. So it's quite easy to stick the bottoms out in this position. See if by engaging your left glute, you can draw your hips in line. Lovely jubbly. Then we're going to just come into triangle. So hop your stance a little bit shorter and let your left palm just rest on the left hip for a moment. So take your grip that you would usually use in your foundation for triangle. So either around your ankle, your calf, your thigh, or even possibly the yogi toe grip. So the first two fingers underneath the big toe and the thumb presses down on top. Wherever you are, can you make sure you have a nice straight leg? The front leg is straight. So it might be, Fraser, that you need to lift up a little bit out of that triangle there and straighten that front leg. Oh, I can't believe I said that on a recording. Forgive me, Fuzz. So we're going to place the left palm now on the left hip and just allow that left hip, that gentle nudge there, to draw the left hip up as you then lift the left arm up. Triangle pose. Lots of opposing forces going on here. It's as if you're leaning down to the ground, but you're pulling up with your right waist and your left waist. They're recruited to keep the torso lifted. So the obliques are in action here. Take a few nice deep belly breaths. Lovely. And then lower down that left palm. And let the back leg, the back toes point to the front of the mat. Find a little spring, and if you fancy, you can just hop and swap the legs over. So now the left leg is at the front, and if you'd rather just step that through, I don't blame you. Now we're just going to come in and lubricate a little bit through the hips. So first of all, just rocking backwards and forwards, and maybe you're going to go a little bit deeper. So if you really sink the hips down and inhale, look up, you get such a nice stretch in the hip flexors and the groin. And then exhale, push back, lift the toes up, and the whole back seam of the leg there just gets a little bit of chatting to. Release down, inhale, look up. And exhale, float the hips up and back. And do this in your own time, because this is your waves of action, pulsing in your rhythm. Lovely. Then just step that left leg outside a little bit more. So you've got the space to place the right palm down inside the left. So the back leg is still lifted, or indeed if you want to lower the knee, you can. Place the palm on the floor and inhale up into your twist. So left arm is lifted, the shoulders drawing back. If you've got your knee lowered, it can be interesting to have your toes tucked. If you're lifted through the knee, again, make sure that you're nice and strong and straight in the back leg, the heel stems away from you. Where's the breath? Inhale. Exhale, lift up through the arm, don't dump through it. Keep a twist in the forearm so the eye of the elbow is pointing towards your left knee. And then exhale, lower that left palm down, spin the back leg so the outer edge can make contact with the floor, the feet pointing, the toes pointing towards 2 o'clock, the left palm inside the left knee, and they can draw together to create a good firm structure. And then you can inhale and draw up into your open twist. Inhale. Outer edge of the foot's contact with the ground, so you're really pushing through that back leg. Exhale, draw the hips in line with the shoulders, in line with the crown. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Gradually release the twist so the gaze comes down, the palms come down, and then just hop your back leg a little bit closer to your front leg and straighten the front leg. Keep your upper body low as you find the support. So yogi toe grip, ankle, calf, even thigh for your triangle posture. Your right palm on your right hip. Just bring it slightly forwards and then gracefully draw that right hip open and stack it on top of the left hip. Then let that right arm continue its journey upwards. Take the gaze upwards and try and keep that sense of lift in the waist and length in the waist. Don't fall down, don't collapse down. So you're lifting up even when you're drawing down. Where's the breath now? Inhale. You can do this. Exhale. Wonderful dedication to you. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath before we lower the gaze. Inhale and exhale. Lower the gaze. Drop the palm down. And then both toes point towards the front of the mat. We're going to come either to plank with the legs lifted, or you're in plank with the knees down, and then lower down onto the mat. Just have a moment here where you can have a rest. So let one cheek come to the mat, your toes come together and your ankles apart, and tune in with where is heated, where is feeling hydrated. Maybe some places are feeling a bit parched, and see if you can just ease your breath to those spaces. Tune into how you feel. This is really the best guide for you in any posture, much better than any words I can say, is your response to them. Your physical, your emotional response to the postures. All right, so here we go. We're going to inhale and let the arms come long each side of the body. So even doing that, as you roll your shoulders back, you'll get a sense of lift in the chest. Exhale and see if you can just engage your abdomen so that you can hold that lift in the front body. And then draw your focus to the back body. Zip the legs together and start to hover the legs above the mat, even if it's 1 centimeter. Just keep that sense of inhaling and growing higher, and exhaling and coming to a point where you're firm. Inhale, exhale. Again, if your lower back is tweaking, take the pressure out of the glutes. See if you can bring some of the structure and strength in through different muscles in the legs. Inhale and exhale. Release and let your other cheek come to the mat. So just turn your other cheek, let the toes come together, the heels fall apart. Then inhale, look to the front, and exhale into child's pose. So your child's pose can be with knees together or apart. I always prefer knees apart, it's up to you. But this counter posture here, we're also going to tune into our kind of sense of grounding. And I don't know about you, but just recently I've been feeling a lot more connected with the ground. So just allow yourself to melt into the ground, and your spine can have a rest. And perhaps your forehead is resting on your palms, perhaps you've got your head lifted a little, but see if you can place some pressure on your forehead. It's just a nice way to still the mind. As you kind of practice like this and mindfully and aware with awareness, you get more comfortable with yourselves in the moment, and it's such a treasure. It takes a lot of practice. Because we have to do a lot of accepting right now and a lot of allowing things just to be how they are. So it's a really good reminder of how important this is, this practice. Okay, place the palms down and inhale, draw back up to seated. And if you want to come through a little chaturanga, that means extending into a plank, you can, and lowering down. Otherwise, just come and lay back down on the ground. So this time what we're going to do is inhale, maybe keep the legs a little bit apart, maybe 1 fist width apart, and draw your bend up at the knees so that your toes are pointing upwards. So for some of you, this may be enough. And what you'll do is inhale and draw the chest up and reach the heels towards you. If you want to go a little bit further, if it's accessible to you, I'd like you to reach from the outsides of the feet and catch them with your hands. Now, again, go where you want to with this. That might be enough. The fact that you can catch them. Then take the focus to the breath and inhale. See if you can just draw the shoulders up and back. And if you want a little bit more, take a nice deep inhalation and then on an exhalation, kick so that you lift the knees up Keep them drawing together into the hands. So there's so many different variations of this posture. Please, can you just focus now on what feels right for you, for the level of challenge that you need today. Not necessarily what's comfortable, because we associate that with being on the sofa and watching a good film. What's good for you right now? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhalation wherever you are. And then exhale. Let yourself relax. So extend the legs back on the mat. Heels fall out. Cheek comes down to the mat. Then press the palms underneath the shoulders and push back into child's pose. Another variation of child's pose is to tuck the toes if you're enjoying that massage through the toes. How nice is it to be so supported? If any of you are having any challenges with sleep at the moment, this is a really nice posture to promote sleep. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's also one that you can quite easily do without even getting off the mattress, without your partner noticing. Well, it depends if they're awake, I suppose. But it's a really, really nice one, just lets a little bit more of oxygen come to the mind. And it can just still a busy mind really nicely. Okay, so now I want you to walk your palms up towards your feet. If sitting on your heels is really uncomfortable, then just come up so that you're taking the weight off your hips. And also a good little marker here, if you have sensitive knees, just make a little fold in your mat. So all of a sudden I've got triple support through my mat, and place your knees back down there. And your knees want to be about hip width apart. So if you measure that with the two fists in between the knees. Okay, so we'll just take one moment sitting back on those feet again. Breathe into the space in between the toes. Lovely. Roll the shoulders down and away from the ears. And then inhale, come off the heels. Do you remember when we were standing and we placed the palms on the back, the lower back? Can you bring yourselves now so that you have that same support there? Either side of your spine, fingertips pointing down. Your heels are lifted, okay? That's going to help. And what we're going to do is come into camel posture, and we'll do it twice so that you can really choose what's right for you. So inhale and draw the left arm up and long. Good. And then extend that arm down and see if you can just tickle your left heel. Okay? If you can, if you're there, you can inhale your right arm up so you get the length, and then exhale and capture your right heel too. Okay, so if that's good to you, you go for that. If you're not feeling like leaning back so much, this is quite a vulnerable position, being so open in the front body. Just untuck the toes and practice holding the abdomen in and not putting all the weight into your palms. So you're leaning back, you're looking up, maybe to where the wall and the ceiling meet, and you're opening in the front seams of the body. Good. So wherever you are with this big, extensive stretch, I want you to take one last exhalation. Engage the abdomen and come out really mindfully. So if you have been holding onto your heels, place the palms back to the lower back. And then, yep, you guessed it, we're going to come back through into another child's pose. Have a couple of breaths. And then we're all going to meet in downward facing dog, because that's just going to give our spine a little chance to stretch out and neutralize a little bit more. So lift the hips and place the soles And hang out here in your down dog for a couple of breaths. Then lower the knees down as we come for the second round of camel. If you really are not into camel at all, then I could suggest a variation of camel, of the back bend. So you could go back to the cobra, you could go back into the locust, the bow pose, or the locust, the sort of superhero lying on the floor. So choose what feels right for you. So place the palms, if you're coming into camel once again, fingertips pointing down either side of the spine. Inhale and draw the shoulders back, draw the elbows as if they're coming together, and draw the navel up. So you're nice and strong in the front body. Already the gaze, wherever you're looking, is going to help you. Keep the hips lifted and drawing forwards. So you're not falling backwards. Keep the hips drawing forwards, draw them forwards, draw them forwards. You want to try and keep that 90-degree perpendicular, your thighs perpendicular to the floor. And if you can hold, if you can catch your ankles, maybe you can release your neck backwards as a final stage. Keep lifting the hips forwards. Or maybe you're just staying where you feel comfortable. Maybe the palms are still placed on the lower back. That's fabulous, because you're tuning in and that's the job you're doing now. Okay, inhale and let the palms come back either side of the lower back and come back up to center very carefully. And then exhale, place the palms, and we're just going to move into a downward dog. Feel that nice counter pose, the contradictions, the juxtapositions. Maybe walk the dog a little bit, perhaps bend one knee across the midline and then the other. Articulate your spine however it feels best for you. So you may even feel a little drawing the circles with the hips, or really getting into the hip joints, moving the thighs in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways. And again, it might not be symmetrical movement. Lovely. Walk up your hands towards the top of the mat and then extend your legs out in front of you. Ooh. So these classes go quickly to me. I don't know about you. Maybe you're like, no, this is like dragging forever. Draw your right knee up towards your hip. So your left leg stays extended. And then we're going to inhale and draw the right arm up, nice and high. And then draw the elbow to the inside of the right knee. Okay? And then we're going to inhale, lift the left arm up so it's shoulder height in front of you. Keep it nice and long and active as you draw a big semicircle. So your gaze follows, and then eventually you're looking and pointing towards the back of the room. Now, have you noticed that your right knee and elbow need to press into each other to create a nice, strong midline? Eventually, you can let your palm come down to the ground behind you, maybe onto a tripod of fingertips, or maybe you can flatten the palm. See what feels right for you. Keep the gaze drawing back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. At the base of that exhalation, tune back into your center and let your gaze come forwards. Inhale, draw your left palm to meet your right palm and lift up. Now we're going to cross, so place your right palm down to the side. We're going to cross the left palm this time over the center line so that you can hug your knee with the outside of your left arm. It meets the outside of the right knee. So this is a closed twist. Already, okay, I hope you're articulating from the lower back, because we haven't done anything with the thoracic spine or the cervical spine. The twist is starting in the lumbar spine. Then I'd like you to inhale again, draw the right arm up and back. So now you're involving the upper spine. The upper spine is much more mobile. And then again, you can use that back palm to create a sense of lift and support for the spine. So you're not falling back and collapsing into the lower body, which will feel uncomfortable when you're initiating a twist. So try and keep a sense of lift as you rotate. And the gaze goes over the right shoulder. And the left extended leg can just be really relaxed. Where's the breath? How are you doing? Where's the mind? How's that doing? As you draw to the end of a session, it's tempting to think about what's next. Keep with your practice right until the end of that Shavasana. Okay, so untwizzle, let the neck come first, and then you can stretch both legs out in front. But I would actually just, before you do that, just take a little windscreen wipe with the hips. So bring the knees, keep the knees bent a little bit, lean back into the palms, just massage through the hips as the knees rock left and right. Oh, it's so good. Lovely. So we repeat these twists on the opposite side. This time, draw your left heel towards your left glute. And we come into the open twist first. So again, you can place your right palm down, inhale, draw up first so you get that sense of extension, and then exhale, place the left elbow to the inside of the left knee. Inhale, draw the right arm long, and then draw that semicircle behind you. Follow it with your gaze. And place the palms down so you're feeling that nice lift in the spine, lift out of the pelvis. I hope you can hear me. It's a little bit of construction going on. You just hold that and then just close the door, see if that helps. Okay, so again, we're going to come out, but come out really gradually. So let the gaze be the initiator of releasing. Perhaps do a little D-rotation, just in the opposite direction. Before you come into that closed expression of the twist, so place the left palm down about the same length, sort of level with your hips. So you can take a little bit of weight over in that side. So you inhale, draw the right arm up, and then cross it over and sort of capture the outside of the left knee with the outer edge of the right elbow. And then inhale, draw up and back with the palm. Lift through the spine, and the gaze tracks over the left shoulder. So really breathe into those places where you feel they're a bit dusty. And you'll know what I mean. Sometimes you just get the breath in that place and it feels like you've just blown a layer of dust off something. It's just so, it's such a discovery. If we leave those places dusty for long enough, we kind of don't go there any longer. So let the breath do some discovery for you as your spine is really articulated in these twists. Okay. Come back to the center. And again, perhaps you'll feel nice if you just windscreen wipe the legs out. Release any tension you may have found in the legs. And then we're going to come back to that rocking and rolling sense that we started with. So wrap your arms around your legs, take hold of your opposite elbow, and see, just enjoy yourselves. There really is no right or wrong in this. Just look for where your spine makes good contact with the mat if it's different from when you started. And then eventually we'll lie on our backs and hug ourselves. So draw the knees really close to the body and the chin comes in towards the chest. So the back of the spine is long, Back of the head's making good contact with the ground. And then wherever you are, like in terms of how close your knees are to you, I'd like you to actually take your focus to your tailbone and see if you can press the tailbone into the ground. And as you do so, you can release your grip from your legs and inhale, let the legs float upwards. Perhaps the toes draw down towards you just to open up again through the back seams of the body, and see if you can just enjoy for a moment massaging your legs. Like squidging places where you feel there's always quite a lot of tension. The Cambridge cycling calves. Mine are so tense. So get in there, get to know yourselves. You know, you can do this whenever you like. And it's really nice to do it in an inversion, because on top of getting to know your muscles, your fascia, your tendons, you're also just letting your blood have a chance to flow in an opposite direction. And it's really good because it's coming down towards your heart with very, very little effort. Okay, gorgeous. So it's time for Shavasana. I will do a little guided Shavasana. If you're on a strict timeline, it is coming to 12:30. So you might have to leave, but if you are going to go, please go mindfully with awareness rather than quickly and rushing, because Shavasana is a place just to drink up the benefits of your practice. So find yourselves nice and long on the mat. Extend your legs so that they are hip width apart or mat width apart, and let your toes fall outwards to the side. And then do the same thing. So if you're not sticking around for Shavasana, my homework for you is to find a point today where you can lie in Shavasana for 5 minutes or for the length of a relaxing song. Just practice being still. Honestly, it's worth it. It is incredibly challenging, but it's so worth it. And if you do it every day, you will start to really feel like you want to tell everyone about how great it is to be still. So in our Shavasana, guided Shavasana, if you're staying in with me, you might want to put socks on or a jumper or a blanket. Just create an extra layer of heat so you can keep the nice vibrations, the buzz that you've generated from your practice. To make sure that your lower back is really supported now, just inhale and lift your hips up and place them maybe a millimeter, maybe a centimeter further down the mat. You just feel your lower back spread then, and your thighs will rotate outwards. And you do the same thing with your shoulders. So you draw your shoulders a little bit further away from your ears, and then tuck the chin. So come to the eyes, and if your lids are lowered, just let the eyes, even behind the lowered lids, look as if they're gazing, not staring. So soften them. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Come now to the jaw. If it feels clenched, just slightly open the lips, let the tongue hang loose. Doesn't matter what you look like here, just relax everything. How are the eyes? Have you started to clench your brows? See, relaxing is challenging. You're achieving great things by relaxing. It's a challenge. The throat. As you draw the breath up through the nose, imagine the throat softens. Notice the rise and fall of the breath in the chest, and let your rib cage soften down to the ground. Feel the breath as you inhale in the armpits, and the upper arms melt down towards the mat. The lower arms and the backs of the palms. The fingers are heavy. The knuckles make contact with the ground. When you next inhale, focus on the belly. Is it soft? Is the breath smooth? Are there kinks? The hips heavy on the mat. The softness of the thighs. The knees. A little pressure in the calves on the mat. Focus now with the breath as if it's coming up through the soles of the feet. You draw it through all those parts of your body. And as you exhale, you can just release all that you do not need. Now allow yourselves a moment of focus on nothing. Not everything, don't let it all come flooding back, but focus on nothing. Create a force field. Be strong. Have your boundaries. This is your moment to simply be in the moment. Now you may have some instinctive knowledge about where you want to move to come out of your Shavasana. For me, I'm going to inhale and draw the arms up in a circle so that they meet above my head, and then point my toes, and I'll stretch through the sides of the body to activate, to send messages all the way through me that I'm going to come into a more active mode now. So draw my knees in towards my chest and take one last grateful clasp. Make sure however you decide to come out, maybe you roll over both knees to one side and your head on your palms, that you do so with real respect to the detail at which we've gone today, noticing the breath and the different areas of tension in the spine, the areas where we're depleted, the areas that we filled, the areas that we've loosened and breathed into. As you come up, keep your gaze really soft. Let your neck be supported. And maybe as you open your eyes, you see different colors, or they're more vibrant, or there's a sense of being in a space that you're really pleased to be in. We'll close with 3 breaths. Inhale, draw up with the arms, and exhale down through the midline. You can do it in your own time. Inhale, draw up with the arms. Exhale, one more breath together after that. Inhale, draw up. And exhale down. Thank you so much for joining the session. It's such a pleasure to offer you this, and I really, really hope that we can catch up again soon. Any comments, you can send them to me personally, or you can use the chat here. I'm really interested in your feedback. Might just try and take you off mute if I possibly can as I stop the recording.